Hello and welcome to my knitting podcast. My name is Jolanda and thank you so very much for being here with me today again on a Monday knit and chat. But today it's going to be a little bit different because, well, life. Um, I just finished a beautiful mohair silk sweater and I looked at my queue and I'm so drawn to those sweaters at the moment because they're so soft and warm and I looked at my queue. I actually have 21 sweaters, cardigans with a some mohair in there, and I thought, well, maybe it's a good idea to share with you my favorites. I understand there are so many mohair sweaters, and these are only the ones that crossed my path. And in one way or another, I bought a pattern, or some are free patterns from drops and well, they are in my queue. So this is not like the best patterns there are. They're just some that I encountered and really want to knit at some point. So this is a finished object I'm wearing, and I talked about it a few times on my previous episodes. So if you want to know all about it, then please feel free to look at them. This is the chambray blouse pullover from Emily Louise. I will put the name on screen. You can find all the projects I'm talking about always on my Reverie page, which will be linked below. And for this special episode, I made a bundle, and that will be also in the links down below. At least I will try my best to make that happen. So this sweater, I had to do a lot of frogging, and that was not the fault of the pattern. It was totally my fault. That is a thing if you change the yarn and go for a different gauge, then you have to do some frogging, ripping, or you're just very lucky and you just hit a jackpot. But I wanted it to be a well-fitted sweater, and I talked about it last time. I thought it was me because I'm not focused enough. But I think it's mostly about that I want to make it a perfect sweater. I'm not so easily satisfied. I think that is a bigger thing. In the past, I easily said, "Oh well, it's okay, it's fine. At least it's finished." But then I end up not wearing it, and that is something I don't want to do right now. So I'm still working on all the projects, and I made a lot of progress. But I really wanted to talk about mohair sweaters today. So I will be looking at my phone, but most of it, hopefully, you will not see because I will put the beautiful pictures for you here over on the screen. So you can enjoy what I have been collecting over the last years, probably, and all the things I'm dreaming about while I'm knitting on my current project. So the first is a cardigan, and that is the Trip to the Provence, and it is a cardigan by Drops Design. I really like how it looks feminine and a bit romantic, and it is knitted in a Drops brushed alpaca silk. So if you're not a mohair and silk person, you might find that a bit itchy. This is a really good substitute because this is so super super soft. So it will be knitted on a 17 stitches gauge, which is, well, it's going to be a quick project. And the needle size they recommend is a US 8 and 6, which is a 5 and 4 millimeter. So this is a free pattern from Drops. Another free pattern from Drops is the Hazel Dream cardigan. So this is a very light and a beautiful layering piece. I also find this a very romantic look. It is a cropped cardigan. What I think it's a bit too oversized for me, but you can totally choose a different size, of course. It is knitted solely out of kid silk on a gauge of 21 stitches. The needle size they use in the pattern is a US 4 and a US 1.5, which is 3.5 and 2.5 millimeter needles. Of course, it is worked flat and it is knitted top down, which is really really nice. I like that. I cannot see. Yeah, it is a raglan construction. Well, that's actually perfect because I'm not a fan of dropped shoulders, as you maybe know. And I don't know, but it is just how it was in my queue. And this is another drops pattern. It's the Cinnamon Crush cardigan. This is a cardigan that is knitted with two strands. So they used alpaca and kid silk. But the drops alpaca can be substituted by any fingering weight yarn. It will end up being a worsted weight from a gauge of 18 stitches. They use a needle size of US 7 and US 4, which is 4.5 and a 3.5 millimeter needle. I think this is a very plain cardigan with a lovely raglan detail. As I see it with the drops patterns, they often knit on the button bands just as you go, which is also nice, which doesn't require much finishing. And yeah, I really think this is a very a nice staple you can add to your wardrobe. Yeah, I absolutely love the look of it. The next is a paint for pattern, and it's the Little White Cardi by Kate Oates. And that is just a very simple cardigan. And she uses a sport weight and a lace weight. And that will end up being a worsted weight garment. And then you get a gauge of 18 stitches, and the needle size she recommends is a US 4 and US 6, which is a 3.5 and a 4 millimeter needle. She also suggests you need a crochet hook, so I'm not sure what's that about, but obviously there is some crocheting going on in this garment. It's a very easy, simple cardigan with a few eyelets on the top. And yeah, I thought that that might be a really, as she wears it over a summer dress. Yeah, that would be absolutely lovely. Then we come at another drops pattern, and that is called the Tree of Life. And I just really like the look of that. It has a lot of bubbles. It has some lace. And yeah, it was absolutely something I was drawn to. I'm not sure if it is actually something I'm going to knit, but I think it looks really different, and that's really nice. So they use drops flora and drops kid silk. So drops flora is a very thin fingering weight on the thinner side. You still get a stitch gauge of 17 stitches, and they recommend a needle size of the US 8 and US 6, which is a 5 millimeter and 4 millimeter. And yeah, so also two strands hold together. Um, the next is the Cardamom Cardigan, and that is by, let me see, Victoria Champlina, and it has very little projects actually, which is, oh, she uses drops kid silk, and I'm not sure. She does hold yarns together, so she ends up with a worsted weight of 19 stitches. And she will also use a needle of 7 US 6 and 7, which is 4 and 4.5 millimeter. It is available in sizes XS to 3XL, so it is a good size range. It looks like it is just the mohair and the kid silk. I don't think that this is just a very light and fluffy cardigan. And yeah, the next cardigan I found was the Turtle Dove cardigan, and that is a free pattern by Sonder Yarn and Company, and it has 250 projects. So this is a cardigan which has an open front, no buttons, and it was originally published in Lana magazine at issue 18. But She uses two lace weight yarns together, so it looks amazingly soft and fluffy, and yeah, it ended up being a loose gauge of 16 stitches. And she uses three needle sizes, US 7, 8, and 9, and that is the same as 4.5 millimeter, 5 millimeter, and 5.5 millimeter. She has 9 sizes available, and it is an oversized top-down cardigan. It looks absolutely lovely, and if you look at the projects, you definitely can get some inspiration from that. The next one that was in my queue is the Iceland Blouse by Valentina Bogdanova. And yeah, she makes the most intricate yoke designs. It is really beautiful. And this is two lace weights held together, which will create a light fingering, which has a gauge of 26 stitches. And the needle size is the US 0 and the US 2.5, which is 2 millimeter and 3 millimeter. So this will need some serious knitting time, but it is absolutely lovely and it looks so, so soft. Really beautiful pattern. I found another drops pattern which I really liked, which is the Touch of Heather. And this is knitted from drops kit silk with a gauge of 23 stitches. The needle size is US 4 of 3.5 millimeter. Drops has sizes available from S to 3XL. And yeah, it is a raglan, seamless, but is it top down? Yes. And it has really beautiful lace sleeves. I have this in my queue quite a long time. I think it's an older pattern, but yeah, I really like this one. It's yeah, lovely pattern. The next one is the Lily Pullover from Charlotte Tang. I once did a test knit for her. She makes beautiful patterns. This one is fully um, in mohair, or maybe a combination. I'm not sure. I don't know actually the brand she uses, but the gauge is 20 stitches, and she uses two needle sizes, US 7 and US 4, and that is 4.5 and it's 3.5 millimeter. Her range is not that large, but she started as XS and she ends at 2XL. So this is a paid for pattern, and I think it is very unique. The lace and the puffy sleeve caps. Yeah, I think it is a very elegant pattern, and not many projects. So I'm interested to see how this will work up. Yeah, love the cuffs and then the balloon sleeves. It's really nice. The next pattern is the Symbiosis, and that is a pattern by Tricot Design MCL. And she has really, really lovely patterns. Her patterns are in Canadian dollars, so I guess she is from over there. And this is a beautiful cardigan, which has, as I look at it, is a double knitted button band with a picot edging, which is very interesting. I'm interested to know how she accomplished that. Again, also beautiful lace on the sleeves only. It has a V-neck. It has buttons. I love it. She uses a sport weight and a lace weight, and that will be a gauge at 19 stitches. She uses three needle sizes, US 7, 6, and 4, which is 4.5, 4, and 3.5 millimeter. She has a nice size range from XS to 5XL, which is pretty a lot. Yeah, it's obviously knitted in the round, one piece, and worked flat, and then I hope it is top down, but that is something, yeah, it is top down. She actually says it's top down. So it's a very affordable pattern for around €6, and this is definitely high on my queue. So yeah, Symbios. Another pattern from her is the Romance, and that is also a cardigan. and that is also Tricot Design MCL. It has 110 projects. It has a beautiful crocheted scalloped edging around the button band. The button band is, as I look at it, added on later, just in the traditional way. It has nice balloon sleeves, and she uses two yarns which she will held together, which is a lace and a fingering weight, which will end up in a gauge of 20 stitches, which is kind of DK. And the needle sizes she uses is the US 7 and US 4, 4.5 and 3.5 millimeter. So usually, as I know it from her patterns, she has multiple options, also do an easier sleeve. Um, those are usually mentioned in the pattern, which are also something you can do yourself, but she describes it also very nicely. Yeah, really, really cute. So this is a different one, and this is the mode sweater by Mirjam Baxelhuizen. And as I know it, she is known as Mrs. Valentine or something. Unfortunately, it only has two projects, but I really love. She's looking for the vintage look, and I think she created that really nicely. Um, two yarns together, and she still gets a very tight gauge, but you can see that in the pattern. It is a gauge of 25 stitches, so she uses needle sizes US 4 and 2.5, which is 3.5 millimeter and 3 millimeter. She has sizes from XS to 4XL. Um, I think this is a very unique pattern. Um, she definitely made it totally her own, and the color is something I have not seen before. So yeah, I thought it was a very interesting pattern. I will probably do some modifications. I don't think the high color will look good on me, but I thought it was a very inspirational pattern, and I'm subscribed to her newsletter, so you usually get a discount, and I thought it was worth definitely supporting her as a designer. She is not such a well-known designer. She deserves some attention. Next, I found the Waffle sweater by Pernille Larsen, and she is knitting for Olaf. I just really, really love this one. She uses obviously her own yarn, and she comes up with a gauge of 14 stitches, which is pretty loose. And the needle size is US 4, 7, and 9, which is 3.5, 4.5, and 5.5. And I absolutely love this. It is a raglan sleeve construction. It is a top down, and it has many, many, many projects, like 385, which is a lot, but she is then a very well-known designer. And yeah, it's a beautiful, it looks pretty easy. The eyelets separated by reverse stockinette. And yeah, I'm looking forward to knitting that pattern. So it looks like I'm going in the reversed order. So my most favorites are at the last, but that's fine. The next one is Ipasia from Knitting for Breakfast, and that is a pattern who is only recently released. I love her patterns. I knitted a few. She held two yarns together to get a DK weight yarn, and then you will end up with 21 stitches if you do it correctly, and a needle size of 4 US 4 US 7, which is 3.5 and 4.5 millimeter. She has multiple sizes from finished garments from 78 centimeters till 174, which is quite good, which is 30.3 inches until 68.5 inches. So this is a well uh, What did I want to say? It is a very pretty pattern. I've seen it come along on Instagram multiple times, and I am looking forward to it. Yes, I will probably use, looking at the gauge, I will probably use the drop snort. It has alpaca in there. It looks fluffy on its own. It doesn't need extra mohair, but it will definitely have the fluff factor, and I can get gauge with that yarn. So yeah, that's one of my favorites. Another one which I really liked, except for the drop shoulder, which is not my favorite, but it is a beautiful pattern also by Pernille Larsen, and it is the Nature Lace Sweater. I really like lace and mohair, looks really beautiful together. And again, knitting for Olive. She ends up in a worsted weight yarn with a stitch gauge of 17 stitches, so that will be a pretty quick knit. She uses needle size 7 and 8 US, and that is a 4.5 and a 5 millimeter. She is only available in 3 sizes, which is kind of disappointing. But what I suspect is that it is a really oversized sweater, so you can get away with choosing a size with more or less positive ease, so it will fit multiple size ranges. The next are 4 patterns of the same designer, and I just bought them this weekend since she had a birthday sale, 40% off, which was a great deal. I'm not sure, probably gonna butcher her name. It's the Keep It Warm sweater by Yeon Hwa Lee, something like that. She has really beautiful patterns. So these 3 are all kid silk combined with merino, and we will end up with a DK weight, if you hold them together, of 20 stitches. And she uses a needle size US 6 and 7, which is a 4 millimeter and a 4.5 millimeter. Her range is not that big, but since she is from probably Japan or China, she has a smaller size, which is XXX, XXS, until XXL. So that is not the greatest, but you can also do a little bit of looser gauge to get maybe the size that will fit you. It is a disappointing range though, but the sweater is absolutely stunning. What I am looking for is that beautiful lace panel in the middle. But what I'm also looking for is not too much reverse stockinette, because I don't like the look of that. That is just personal preference. Excuse me. It also has a beautiful cable over the sleeve. It's just an overall really stunning pattern. It is published in March 23. So I will see. The next one is the Willow sweater, also by her. I think this is a very recently published pattern. It's from September 24. So let me see if she did expand her range somewhat. She has going from XS to 2XL now. That is at least something. She holds 2 lace weights together to get a gauge of 20 stitches. She has 3 needle sizes she wants us to use. So that is a US 6, 2.5 and a 4, which is a 4 millimeter, 3 millimeter and a 3.5 millimeter. It is available in multiple languages actually, and I really like this. This reminds me a bit of the Waffle sweater from Olive Knits, but she gave it a different twist. It's a beautiful V-neck. Yeah, it looks like it is a pretty loose gauge, so it might be a really beautiful layering piece. Yeah, she only uses mohair yarn, so 2 mohairs together will get a very airy and fluffy fabric. Then another one from the same designer is also an older pattern with a very small size range, and it's called Out of My Dreams Blouse. What I really liked was the overall lace pattern. It reminds me of a pattern I made when I was in my teens. And I remember I used some acrylic yarn and the neckline stretched out a lot. So I wove in a cord, a crochet cord, and I tied it in front. So this is kind of what it reminds me of. The color is probably a little bit too snug for me, but I will probably omit that ruffly thing. That's too close to my face. But the rest of the garment is really something I like. I like the raglan. Yeah, the way she handled that. That's just a really a pretty sweater. Also, an older pattern from 2022, which does not bother me at all. She uses two lace weights and comes up with a gauge of 18 stitches. Needle size U is 6 and 4, and that is a 4 mm and a 3.5 mm. It only goes up to an XL. Like I said, that is kind of disappointing, but since it is an older pattern, yeah, it is very common with the Eastern designers. They only have a smaller range. People there are usually a lot smaller than we are in Europe or in America. So the last one, and from the same designer, is the Colden fall sweater. And I really have my eye on this one. I've been making a gauge swatch, and I'm not sure where I'm at, but this is this number one on my list. So I like the color, and it's just really nice and warm. Again, a beautiful lace leaf detail running over the edge of the sleeve, from the shoulder to the cuff. A beautiful panel of leaves cascading down the front. It is absolutely stunning. She uses merino singles with gilt silk, and she ends up with a DK weight of 19 stitches. The needle sizes she uses in this pattern is the US 6, 4 and 7, which is a 4 mm, a 3.5 and a 4.5 mm. Is available in a few sizes, which is 2XS and 3XL. So yeah, this is absolutely one of my favorites. I hope I can start up this one pretty quickly. So I think I mentioned 20 patterns. As I said before, I will link it down below. It is in a bundle in my Reverie favorites. There are many bundles. You are welcome to look through them. All the patterns are in that bundle, and then you can just click on them and you will get to the designer. So this was a different episode. I hope you enjoyed it anyway. And I will be back for you next Monday with a regular episode talking about everything I've been working on and the things I have been finishing. I have enjoyed this one. I hope you enjoyed it too. I hope you found it inspirational. Do you have a favorite mohair sweater? Please tell me down below. I would love to add it to either the bundle or to my Reverie queue, which is already very long, but I'm always interested to hear what your favorite sweater is. So until next time, I hope you have a lot of knitting time and you enjoy the colder weather if you have any. And I will see you next week on Monday as usual. Bye bye.